Yeah. All right. So, yeah. What's up, guys? So, if you guys haven't been noticing, Graham Platner has decided to drop out, mainly because of the doggone allegations, these recent allegations against him. And let's look into it.
The things that have been claimed did not happen. It's not real. It has placed an immense amount of weight on me as I think about what needs to happen now. Amy and I are regular people. We were not looking for this experience. We were not looking to get into politics. We had no desire to run for office. I just want you to think about like what you would do as a regular person in a position where a much larger world, large forces were working against you personally to accuse you of the worst thing that a person could do, and it was not remotely true. I learned about this through press inquiries with no time to truly respond, no time for investigations before a corporate media system and the political establishment got to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Accusations are supposed to be the beginning of things, not the end. I think it's really important to understand why this is happening in the timeline, why this is happening right now. Much like October, when the first attack started, much like the news that was created the week before the primary, there is a reason that this is happening now. I only have until July 13th until I am officially the nominee. This was the last week to try to get me off of the ballot. And that's why this is occurring. It's not the false allegations, though, that have brought us to where we are. It's the fact that they are being used by the political establishment to put structural pressure on us.
Oh, I don't know.
We live in a political system that is not built for normal people. It is a system that is built structurally to make sure that movements like ours cannot flourish. That if they begin to succeed, they can be crushed. What we have accomplished here, you made possible. The people of Maine, the volunteers, the voters, the grassroots donors, and I have all the faith in the world that we could win if we could continue to harness that. But the brutal political reality is that They are going to take everything away from us.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Facebook.
Do this.
44.
Guys,
I'm just about to
who
laugh.
just built an app?
Impossible.
I can't code.
Interesting. Can it generate reports?
It can now.
Nice.
So you're saying we can all be?
But no moral standards on me. Our standards is different. We don't believe in all women. We don't just flat out just sit here and say believe all women. That's y'all side.
Those in power who have the ability to do so are using these allegations as an excuse to take away all of the things that we need to run a campaign. We are going to lose our ability to fundraise. We are going to lose our ability to access voter data. We are going to lose all of the things that any campaign needs on the basic level simply to function. Larger organizations, the national level party, the bigger donor networks, they have all committed to spending no money in this race if I'm in it. They would rather see Susan Collins win than have me be the next senator from Maine. What comes next needs to come from the people. Needs to come from the people of Maine. Needs to come from the voters who on June 9th, at a strength of over 150,000, the largest number in the history of Maine primaries, said no to this kind of politics. Voted for a politics that would actually represent them. Voted against the political system, against the donor class, against the entrenched forces. And I'm not asking for how this process is going to work. I'm not trying to dictate to anyone who it should be or how we get there, but I will say this. It needs to be open, transparent, and democratic. It needs to be reflecting the will and the values of the people that built this movement, the people that showed up on June 9th. People in DC need to stay in DC. Decisions should not be made in back rooms by people in places of political power. Party apparatchiks are not the ones to make these decisions. These decisions need to be made in the open by the people of this state, the people who got us here. This is exactly the kind of political system that everyone voted against on June 9th. And for that reason, we need to be assured that it is going to be open and democratic as we move forward. Amy and I struggled about getting into this. Last summer, right around this time of year, we sat down and we looked at each other and we said, if we believe in the kind of politics we think that we do, we have to do this. Over the past couple days, really yesterday and today, we have had to have that exact same conversation. We believe that for the movement to continue, it can't be made. And for that reason, we are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult.
If the allegations are not true, why are you suspending your campaign operations? There must be some heavy allegations. But listen. Before before we pull up Cal Kalinski's doggone video talking about Republicans and all this and that and the third and what they bet not do, listen, we don't go by the standards of believe all women. Okay? That's what y'all do. Y'all are the party of feminists. Y'all are the party of leftists and Marxists. We don't go by the believe all women standards. Women lie, just like men lie. So before we pull up Cal Kalinske and all their videos and shit talking about what Republicans bet not say and all this, standard of believe all women. That's y'all doing. That ain't got nothing. Leave us out of it. Leave us out of it. We don't got nothing to do with this. Okay?
Be difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power. And I also feel an immense amount of responsibility to everyone who has worked so hard to get us to where we are. We went toe-to-toe with one of the most entrenched political systems in the history of the world, and we won. We beat them on June 9th in overwhelming numbers. We did it the right way. We built a campaign. We engaged in electoral politics. We motivated people. We banded together. We did it the way that we were told we are supposed to make change. And we won. And now they are...
Bruh, before you can turn around and say you won, at least win the state in a general election against Susan Collins before you can turn around and say you won. Yeah, you won the primary, but now look. These sexual allegations, the most recent ones that came out, they're not making your ass drop out of the doggone campaign trail. So before you can turn around and sit here and say that you won anything, sir, you should have won a general election in Maine first. And like I said before any of you leftists get up on here and start talking about, well, you voted for somebody who's a pedophile and protected Epstein. Listen, we don't believe it. We don't believe all women, okay? We don't go for the standards of believe all women when they just accuse somebody of sexual allegations with little to no evidence. E. Jean Carroll waited all the way for damn near 50, 60 years to turn around and decide she want to accuse Donald Trump of sexual harassment. Around 2016 when his ass was running for president. Why you wait and tell the man, why? Why did you wait that doggone long? Why did you wait almost 4 decades to decide you want to accuse him of sexual allegation, of sexual assault? This is why the Me Too movement failed. Because y'all women like to sit on this type of stuff and sit on it and sit on it and sit on it and sit on it and then turn around and wait till a man gets some type of promotion or position of power to then turn around and accuse him of sexual assault.
They are not going to let us have it. Not if it's me. And so we're suspending campaign operations. I want to make clear, though, I intend to file my paperwork to withdraw. The process needs to assure that what comes next is reflective of the Mainers who on June 9th turned out and showed that they are desperate for a different kind of politics. It needs to be driven not from back rooms, but by the will of the people. And the decisions that come next must come from that. All we were asking for.
Okay, so that's easy. Have them do a petition. Oh, but they're not going to do that because these are the Democrats. They're going to overthrow their own form of democracy after lecturing everybody about protecting democracy.
For was health care, was to end the genocide, to use our taxpayer dollars at home to uplift our communities instead of waging war overseas. We were asking for a fair system. We were asking for an end to the corruption, the end to the money in politics. We were asking for real democracy, and we did it the right.
Bruh, like, you got donations. Your campaign was funded by progressive PACs. What do these people not understand? Money has always been in politics since the start of America. Money has always been in politics since the establishment of America. That's probably not going to change whatsoever. You guys use the same methods that everybody else do. You fundraise. You take money from progressive PACs, corporate PACs, and other lobbyist groups. You do the same thing that other politicians do. That you do the same thing that Republicans do. Y'all want to talk about APACs? APAC is not the only lobbying group. You got Muslim lobbyists, progressive lobbyists, corporate PAC lobbyists. APACs is not the only group that is in politics. Y'all gotta stop this. Y'all gotta stop this. Because just as much as you hate APACs, this is like the pot calling the kettle black. So you're gonna take money from Muslim lobbyists, but you don't like Israel being involved in politics. Well, you know what? Why don't you just ban lobbying? Oh, but y'all not gonna do that. Because y'all care about money just as much as everybody else do, even though you're calling yourself a self-proclaimed socialist. If these allegations was not real, why are you suspending your campaign operations, sir? Why? Why are you suspending your campaign operations, sir? If these allegations are not real and not true, then why are you suspending your? Go ahead, continue to run. that might turn around and piss off some moderate Democrats, and they might turn around and vote for Susan Collins. But if you say these allegations are fake and they're not real, then why you dropping out? Go ahead and continue to run. You might turn around and piss off some moderate Democrats and push them over into voting for Susan Collins, a liberal anti-Trump Republican. But hey, if you claim that these allegations are false and this is AIPAC, then by all means, you should keep running. You should keep running. If you don't care about the money and you don't care and you're saying that this is AIPAC, then why are you dropping out? Keep running. Do it without the money. And keep running. Do it without the money. Oh, I forgot. You're not going to do that because you like them dollars just as much as everybody else do. We going to have to, listen, Americans, we going to have to stop being real with each other. People like money. Okay? People like money, and money is in politics. Okay? Money is in politics, and it's always going to be in politics. You ain't finna stop none of these Muslims from lobbying, or corporate AIPACs from lobbying. But you want to sit here and talk about AIPAC. But you want to sit here and talk about AIPAC. And I'm be honest with you. I'll take their fucking money. That don't mean I'm gonna work for them. Y'all understand the difference, but this is not Israel. This is America. I'll take their money in order to win. But that don't mean that I'm going to work and be loyal to them and not be loyal to America. I'm American. I'm not Israeli. I wasn't born in Israel. That don't mean I'm going to work for Israel and be loyal to Israel. Yeah, I'll take their money just to win an election. Yeah, I'll take all of their money. Corporate AIPACs, Muslim AIPACs.
Right way, and we won. But now the ball is in the court of the Democratic establishment. My name might be on the ballot right now, but that ballot line belongs to the people of Maine. And on November 3rd, it needs to belong to the people of Maine. And the next Democratic senator for Maine needs to belong to the people of Maine. They need to reflect the will and the values of the people of this state. I love this state. I love Maine, and I love Mainers in ways that I can't really describe. I'm immensely proud of what we have built, and I have the utmost faith that we will continue to build, and we will continue to move towards a better future. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank all of you. And keep fighting. We're going to win someday.
so see, now you heard that. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and see what Kyle Kalinski's talking about. Let's go ahead and see what Kyle Kalinski talking about. Because we all know he over there boo-booing and crying.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me.
False allegations and not facts.
Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I've been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins.
So Graham Platner is in big trouble. That's TRUBL for those of you out there in the audience. And this is because a new series of allegations, or allegations as the super mayor called them.
False allegations and not facts.
And unlike the previous set of accusations against Graham Platner, this time the accusations actually come from somebody who is undoubtedly a left-wing woman. And because of that reason, and of course Graham Platner's falling polling against Susan Collins, now all of a sudden, all the people who just a month ago were denying everything and anything related to the accusations that were leveled against him by a woman who happened to be a Republican are suddenly morally outraged. They're suddenly using the phrase credible allegations against Graham Platner, even though, again, when you actually analyze what has come out this particular time in this political story, what you ultimately end up having to conclude when you, again, objectively analyze them is that these are no more credible, no more legitimate than the previous accusations. And in fact, in a lot of ways, they're actually more flimsy. In addition to that, while those accusations ended up dropping as a part of the Oppo research prior to the Democratic primary, this very specifically is being put forward prior to the point where they have to finalize Platner as the candidate. So yeah, the same timing issues, the same everything apply this month as what was applied last month. The only difference is that you have a Democratic woman, and of course, Graham Platner's polling is in fact in shambles. And again, this is not a defense of Graham Platner as a person. In fact, I pointed out that this guy has a sketchy past. He obviously had that Nazi tattoo, the Toppenhof skull, on his chest for years. Everybody who was denying that for a very long time, it looks like an absolute idiot.
Let's slow down here. I don't think that Graham Platner is literally a neo-Nazi or his ideology is neo-Nazi in any way today, but you can acknowledge that he did have a Nazi tattoo. He did know it was that, and he should have had it removed a long time ago. You don't?
No, I don't
that?
acknowledge any of that. And so
of course
that's okay. First of all,
let him answer.
So when I first saw the tattoo, I was like, "That's a Nazi tattoo." I had no idea. So it's a skull and bones. I don't know what the different skull and bones stand for. Maybe Graham does.
It's going to be a maze.
But just because of these particular accusations are sticking,
my biggest concern was just trying to balance working full-time, being a mom full-time, and also being a student full-time. Now I actually teach at the high school I graduated from. WGU has changed my life.
Learn more at wgu.edu.
these particular accusations are sticking, it doesn't mean that I'm just going to jump on board and say that he's guilty just based on the word of this woman and some supporting text messages or Facebook messages that are not all that supporting when you examine them. So this is what we're going to talk about today, the Graham Platner accusations and, of course, the reaction from the left-wing media who had been backing him all throughout this whole entire process through multiple different scandals up until this point where, again, it appears to be more convincing convenient to dump him. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
Then he came in. He just came into my house. It was unlocked. I live in an area where you don't usually have to lock your doors. I do now. So he came in and I realized, okay, he didn't listen. He's in my home. And I was laying on the couch. It was probably pretty late at night and I was already ready for bed. I just wasn't in bed. And so he had kind of like jumped on top of me and indicated that he had intentions that were sexual in nature. And I remember just at first being like, hey, I'm not into this. Like, I'm not in the mood. Like, don't, whatever. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, I feel like I've said this enough times. Like, he's not listening to me or he's not hearing me. And I looked at him and I remember this very specific look in his eyes. And I could smell alcohol and I was like, this is different. He is heavily intoxicated. Like, and that blank stare was kind of like a photographic memory that I still have of that night.
So that right there was a clip from the current accuser of Graham Platner. Now, what she is alleging is that back in 2021, she had kind of like a situationship with Graham, and she ended up indicating one evening that she did not want him to come over. Graham Platner, of course, ended up showing up. He entered her home, which the door was unlocked, so this would be like an unlawful entry, as he did not have the permission to actually enter this place. He was incredibly drunk, and according to her, he basically forced himself on her. Thus, she is accusing Graham Platner of rape. Again, back in 2021, she said that she had text messages that were in reference to this back then, but she then has deleted them. She also deleted the Instagram messages that she exchanged with Graham Platner after the fact, where she called him out on this behavior. And as supporting evidence for this, she claims that she told a boyfriend that something ended up going wrong. This guy was interviewed by Politico, but he was allowed to remain anonymous, and he confirms that she had some kind of an issue with Graham Platner. Although from my reading of the Politico article, he doesn't specifically confirm that she told him that Graham Platner sexually assaulted and or raped her back in 2021. In addition to that, we also have these messages that are provided as supporting evidence, and this is from back in 2023. And the premise of these messages is that somebody reached out to the accuser and asked her if it would be okay or a good idea to set somebody else up with Graham Platner. Now, of course, if somebody had broken into your house and committed a sex crime against you, you would think that you would inform the person who wants to fix that guy up with another person that happened, and yeah, you definitely 100% shouldn't. However, in these particular messages, she uses a phrase that honestly I just don't quite understand for this particular scenario, and that is calling him consensually challenged or consensually careless. I think that's the exact phraseology. And then she goes on to say that she had an encounter with him or something of the sort, and that he had PTSD and a bunch of other things that are not quite the actual affirmation of the accusation as she is claiming it to be. In addition to that, she says that after the particular incident in the night in question, because Graham Platner was drunk, she ended up letting him stay in the bed. She slept next to him so that he could sleep it off because she didn't want him to drunk drive while going home, and she maybe considered calling the police after sending him to leave so that he could be busted for drunk driving.
So I spent a little bit of time in the bathroom, and when I came back out, he was asleep in my bed. And at that point, I didn't know what my options were. Like, obviously, I don't want this person in my house. And when I, earlier had realized how drunk he was, I knew that he had driven over that way. Like, I'm surprised he made it to my house. And if I woke him up and sent him home, like, I'm now making the decision to put somebody that drunk on the road. And I didn't want to live with the fact that, like, if he got into an accident or hurt somebody else. And I remember thinking that I could tell him to leave, and I could call the police immediately, and I could at least get him caught for drunk driving. So I was like, I'm going to let him sleep, and the second he wakes up, I'm going to tell him to leave. And so he slept. I lay there in like a state of panic all night.
Now, the reason I bring up the particulars of this story and how a lot of it actually doesn't make sense is because you have a lot of people in the left-wing media calling this credible allegations or allegations, as the super mayor would call them.
False allegations and not facts.
But in reality, they don't seem all that credible, in my opinion. And of course, her proof, her paper trail or her digital paper trail is missing, obscured, and again, not that specific. And her behavior doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I understand. I get it. You know, honestly, I really have nothing else to say anymore about this guy. But for Democrats, the people on the left, y'all brought this up on yourself. Y'all turned around and y'all decided to get into bed with the whole leftist, socialist, Marxist ideology. Y'all the ones that decided to push the narrative of believe all women. And now y'all got to live up to y'all standards. But hey, if, as I said before, if the allegations are false and not true, why are you dropping? Why are you dropping out? You should keep running. You should keep running. But other than that, you guys like, comment, and subscribe at Black Diamond. Peace.